Okay, back again, another live stream podcast or broadcast or whatever that is. So basically, I basically in the unintentional free time that I basically already got since the morning, even though there is some interruption in the middle. But yeah, I basically didn't do many things either because yeah, I basically still try to focus on my main job of tasks since yesterday. The reason why I cannot create any productivity content is because there's is some unnecessary things that I basically need to solve in my main job of tasks. So that's the reason why I basically waste many times there, which is basically pretty easy to solve, and I just don't get it why. Because probably I basically need to, I don't know, to be more patient perhaps during this period of time, even though I just don't understand whether I basically still have some desire or not, because at the moment that you're basically try to suppress any of your desire, you eventually it basically unintentionally or indirectly makes you didn't like it no more. So I don't know, even though yeah, I basically still technically try to fulfill my desire, which is probably a little bit like bad behavior that I basically wanted to prevent, but since I basically didn't have any other things, so that's the reason why I'm still trying to do that, even though yeah, I basically want to change because it's technically not really good things, or even some people consider it is a bad thing, but yeah, I'm just trying to be prevent as much as possible, even though at some point if I basically cannot prevent it no more, I'm still trying to do that. At least it was technically free. Because yeah, most of the people out there is basically wanted to fulfill their desire if they basically have the money, and I basically wanted to do the same thing, but yeah, I've been or tried to do the same thing for more than 2 years, and yeah, I started to think that it's basically all of those are temporary and probably will not make me more motivated to do more productivity things. So that's the reason why started from several months ago. I decided to prevent any kind of my expense very drastically. I don't know whether it is actually enough or not, but yeah, it, because at some point you still, I'm basically still wanted to fulfill something that's basically more expensive, but hopefully with those more expensive or more money to spend, I basically able to be more productive in a good way, turning into a better person. So in every ways, I don't know. So basically, there always be something that's basically pretty interesting to experience, even though yeah, it's basically an expensive things, and although it's definitely not as expensive as the one that I basically wanted to fulfill, but it's definitely have less effect on my motivation to do a better things as well. And for some reason, the company is definitely more valuable, since basically if you try to sell consumer use product that's basically pretty cheap, or maybe can be accessible to many people, so you definitely able to create a bigger company than selling more expensive things but more segmented people. So that's the reason why at some point, if you talk about how we basically try to make richer people than us, even richer from our money, from the limited money that we had, it's probably the same. Even the cheapest things that you can buy, it still technically make them rich, even though, yeah, it's matter of quantity. Because, yeah, technically we still buying the things or the money that was technically transfer or move from our wealth to their wealth is technically small. But yeah, in terms of how many people that basically try to spend those things, the amount probably the same as something that basically far more expensive, but only certain people try to bought it. So yeah, that's the reason why we only just able to, I don't know, try to adapt with something that currently available right now, even though, yeah, it's definitely hard to make those things on our own, because at some point some people try to create their own product, but yeah, the quality is just far from the one that basically created by the big companies, because in terms of quantity it's pretty hard to maintain the quality unless you're trying to do everything handmade. But yeah, I don't know whether it is basically efficient or not, but you definitely waste your time just for selling something that's probably pretty cheap, unless it is something that able to be sell very expensive since it was completely homemade. So that's the reason why I don't know what else that I basically want to talk about, because I've already tried to do a good behavior recording as usual, but it was a two recording since the first one is actually pretty short. It's actually longer than the second one, but yeah, it's definitely less than 20 minutes that I basically wanted to create. So that's the reason why I tried to do it the second times, even though since I actually already tried to create the recording previously, so I definitely need to make it a little bit different in order to not duplicate in terms of the naming. So yeah, I basically tried to do that, and yeah, what else? So man, I suddenly forgot what kind of things that I basically want to talk about. And trying to do a multitasking is even making it even worse. Forgetting about the things that I basically want to say. I basically already try to create native or prepare native language podcasts, since at the moment that I basically got the unintentional free time in the morning, my the battery percentage on my iPhone is currently 80%, and I just don't want to make the low power mode to be turned off once it was charged from below 80%. So that's the reason why I try to charge my phone first, even though, yeah, right now it's already 88%, perhaps because I already tried to do the good behavior recording for around 20 minutes in total, perhaps, I'm not sure. But after this, I think I will try to prepare some the pre-recorded Animoji. Hopefully it will not get interrupted, even though I basically still have the weekly scheduled intentional free time. in around 1 hours. Even though, yeah, I basically have some physical event that I can actually attend, but I don't know, I'm still pretty much lazy. Probably I will try to attend next week because, yeah, that's probably the last one before uncertainty that it will be happen again. Just trying to meet the peoples in my main job of tasks, but yeah, it's probably will gonna be the same. Probably because I just don't know. Maybe it's just not as close as college friend. But even if talk about college friends, the many years that I basically tried to do in the physical world, it's still not really guaranteed that you will technically close to each other, because yeah, it still depend on your preference or your way of thinking, perhaps. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know what else that I basically want to talk about. So it's already more than 11 minutes. I think I basically already not try to do the karaoke content because yeah, I've been trying to focus on native language podcast first, even though yeah, it's basically pretty much the same, but I just don't know. I just wanted to fulfill my expression or fulfill my thoughts because yeah, I basically try to suppress any of my desire, even though doing karaoke is basically pretty relaxing as well, but it's still pretty much just trying to do the same thing because yeah, I basically try to utilize the oldest karaoke files first before the new one, and I'm still not really often to create the new one as well, so that's the reason why. Even though yeah, I don't know whether the inconsistency that I basically try to make in my karaoke channel will actually impact if I never, it will make me harder to get something that I basically wanted, because yeah, my friends always say it, or many people always say it, that you basically need to be consistent in content creation world, but yeah, I don't know, because I basically try to do it as easy as I can. So yeah, I just can only be try do as much as possible. Probably once I basically got more motivation, perhaps I will try to do better things. So yeah, I think that's all that I can say. Thank you.